Hi there, and welcome to my review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, this is obviously the movie event of the year. And so, I'm going to try and not say any plot spoilers in this review. There will be no plot summary, nothing. But of course, I'm going to talk about themes and ideas of the film. So, if you really want to go in totally blind, don't watch this. But just to make it abundantly clear how much I like or dislike this film, here is a 3-word summary of how good this film is. Best since Empire. If you want an expanded summary of how great this film is, better than Empire ? This is up there. This could be my favourite Star Wars movie, although I'm going to say Regency bias and having just seen it might be a sway. But absolutely amazing. This is thoroughly fantastic. This is one of the ultimate legacy sequels, and we've had many sequels from old franchises drudged up over the last few years. This is up there. This is one of the best. It's spectacular. It is utterly spectacular. So let's just go right back to why this movie had to be great, or if it wasn't great, why it would be a letdown. Star Wars is the greatest cultural myth of the last 50 years. It's not my favourite, franchise, story, ongoing sort of legend, but as a cultural sort of just monolith, it is so significant. It is a legend that we all kind of know, and the reason it ends up being so well respected and well known throughout all of the world is because it's ultimately a very universal story. It is good and bad, light and dark, order and chaos. It's simple dichotomies, it's simple black and white themes and ideas, and the series is about those. And obviously there's moral greyness within that, but ultimately the film is universal and it is simple. This is old style storytelling. And what The Last Jedi does, The Last Jedi finally, after the prequels were a letdown in storytelling and The Force Awakens and Rogue One were just purely relying on nostalgia, this is a film that finally brings back the good old ideas and themes of the series without compromising in any way. First of all, this is a film about legends in 2 ways. First of all, in universe. It's about the legends of the characters. It's about the legacy that they leave behind. It's about the stories that they have taken to get to where they are. And in order for the characters to move on, they have to move through acknowledging their own legacy, or through attempting to understand how legacy of other characters isn't what they think it is, or how legends are truly made and not just coming out of a vacuum. In a way, legends and legacy are pure. They remove all moral greyness. When you think of the good old tales of old, there's a good and a bad. And so a legend removes moral greyness. What The Last Jedi tries to bring into the franchise is more moral greyness. The characters are more nuanced than ever. There's light and dark in each of them. And yet, by the time the film ends, you understand who is good and bad, and the heroes and the villains, and all the classic themes are back. But this time they're better nuanced and better defined. For the first time since the original trilogy, we're finally on territory where the original themes are back and they're properly explored. We really end up with a story of heroes and villains, of good and bad. But the film puts the audience through a journey which makes you question all of those things, so that when it finally gets around to defining what is what and who is who, you fully understand and embrace what that film is. It gives you all of the simple classic mythos that you ever wanted, but also does it with more intelligence than ever. It is cleverly subtle in the way that it deals with myths in universe. But what's more important is there's a meta myth here. Star Wars is its own myth. Star Wars has become a legend that is passed down, that is a cultural icon. And so the film plays with that. Ideas like Rey's parentage are not used in the story just to be a narrative point, but are used as a meta aspect. They're used to give a nod to the audience of, we know what you want and we know what we're to give you, but we're going to make it a bit more arduous. We're going to make you have to work through character stuff to get there. And then when the payoff does come, it's greater than ever. It's no surprise that the film ends up being about legacy ultimately, and I think that is why the film is so great, because it's a real thematically meaty film. I mean, if you really care about the technicals, If you really want to know what I think of the characters and the plot and the action and the effects and the visuals, okay, they're all great. Done. Put them to the side. The plot is really good for a Star Wars film. The action, yeah, sure. You know, the visuals, yeah, perfect. The characters, yeah, I mean, Star Wars characters are all pretty fucking great. Although the new characters, Rey, Finn, Kylo, Poe, are still the standout characters of the sequel trilogy. Although Luke Skywalker is pretty badass in this one. There's some absolute great moments. It's emotional. It's not a film to make you think, but it makes you feel, because I think it understands the universality of its concept is what the audience wants and what makes the audience ultimately feel. But it really plays with that as much as it can. It pushes it just to make it ultimately go back to whatever it was before. It is the ultimate sequel in that I think it understands the legacy that it has to fulfill, the cultural weight that bears down upon it, but it also wants to be its own thing. I think it's smart, it's clever, it's witty, it has so much energy, it's utterly alive, it's so self-aware, but not in a way that's obnoxious. It's subtle, I think it's brilliant, I think it's twisty, I think it's unpredictable, it's exciting. My only criticism, or that's non-trivial, would be there's a lot of comedy in the first half and that doesn't work for me. Some of that I could do without. But everything else is clever, smarter than Star Wars has been for a very long time. It's the best since the original trilogy by quite some distance. I think it's matching the very best of the original trilogy. I think this is the first post-Lucas film that understands it's a post-Lucas film. It isn't trying to just be nostalgia. This film could have taken an easy path and gone, look, we are about legacy because it's old nostalgia. Fuck that. This film goes, screw nostalgia. What people want is archetypes and themes. That's what Star Wars is. Star Wars is a myth. We'll give them the ultimate simple heroes villains dynamic. We'll play with it a bit, we'll make it more complicated, but ultimately the characters and the events will slot into good versus bad, and when they do, people will understand why. And we're not just doing it, you know, arbitrarily, and it truly comes down to an intention to tell a story with intelligence and heart. It is fantastic. It is one of the best films of the year. It is one of the best blockbusters of recent times. It is utterly amazing. I think Star Wars The Last Jedi is a masterpiece. Just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Thanks for watching. If you like this review, please give it a like. If you want to see more of my reviews, subscribe. If you want to keep up with what sort of movies I'm watching, you can follow me on Letterboxd or Twitter. Links in the description. And Star Wars The Last Jedi. Masterpiece.